Welcome back to the Fundamentals podcast where we talk all things related to sports from a fan's perspective. What's up, Adrian?
Good man, good man. What's going on?
Good, good. We have a special guest, somebody that I honestly I probably would not be doing podcasts if it wasn't for him. We have a good friend of mine, somebody that has been been super helpful in me being doing this. Gary, what's up, man?
Oh, it's good to see you, Will. It's nice to meet you, Adrian. Um,
Yeah,
you'll have to excuse my wife. We're doing some remodeling in the house and stuff, so she's going to be in my background view unless I can move the
that's
camera or
fine.
something. Yeah,
That's
life
fine.
goes on.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is what
Oh
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's the beauty of like podcasts. You can do
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff.
That's how you know
Right.
we're unscripted.
That's
Ain't no
right. We're
scripts. This is
no
straight.
script.
You know what I'm saying? No scripts.
Yeah. Yeah. So we talk we talk sports from a fan's perspective. So it's all opinion based. This is how we feel about things, and I like to make that clear for people that are I know the big brands wanna everybody wants to make their opinion a fact, but it's just our opinion. So I'm always open for the discussion and I'm always open to hear other perspectives. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to start specifically, like I want to talk about the Scooper flag and the Dallas Mavericks thing. And one of the things I wanted to talk about when Dallas traded Luca, we thought Dallas was like, you know, we thought Nico Collins was like so bad, and
Crazy.
we thought Dallas would made the dumbest decision in the world, and now it doesn't look so bad. We'll start with you, Gary. You're the guest. We'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Well, Cooper Flag hasn't played a single minute in the NBA yet, so I'm not going to get too excited about that.
Right.
I do live about an hour from the University of Duke campus, so he's an exciting guy. People loved him here, and from what everybody said, and I don't know about the talking heads and on ESPN and all the other networks who talk about him being the greatest potential or the greatest potential superstar since LeBron or whatever they like to say. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it saved Nico's job getting that first overall pick more than anything. And yeah, just having a Cooper flag to move the gauge because we all saw when the the Mavericks and the Lakers played their first game post Luca trade and how much the fans still just loved Luca.
Yeah.
Just I don't. He said something which I thought was really telling about how he didn't realize how important Luca was to the Dallas community and stuff. And now that they have a potential replacement to that part of the team and stuff, I think that's going to help him for right now. But yeah, I don't know what we can do other than just watch now. He's done pretty well so far in the summer league and stuff. I've seen him, a little bit, but yeah, there's not much we can really gauge until they actually start playing real games.
That's a fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact. I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Adrian, what I mean, obviously, I agree. This saved Nico Collins' job. I think potentially,
Potentially.
yeah.
Because I
Um,
don't think he's fully out because what if Flag becomes a bust?
yeah,
I
true.
don't look. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Being just watching him and watching how he played at Duke. The boy can ball. He really can ball. But, not everybody translates to the NBA. Even though I think Cooper Flag is definitely one that does. His transition to the NBA is probably gonna be seamless, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Duke fan, but for me to give praise to a Duke player is kind of crazy. But being honest, talent. Being honest, you know what I'm saying. He's very talented. So potentially Nico is out of the red now.
Yeah,
If he ends up being a flatline bust, then we talking a different story. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it does set him up for something at least pretty good in the future. I don't, like I said, I don't see Cooper Flag being a bust. I see him being a pretty good player in the NBA. Just because he has that drive, he plays offense and defense, so he has that motor, and I think he's going to be a pretty good player. So it does save him in that scheme, but only time will tell. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Well, I had said from the beginning of that trade, Dallas made that trade. Uh, that was a trade for like the future. Like that
hmm
was the long run. Um, you know, after Anthony Davis had gotten hurt. And when Anthony Davis came, I was like, oh well, maybe they want to. If you look at having Kyrie, you look at having what's the name, Gabbert and
hmm
the bigs. They're a big team,
likely,
and likely, yeah, and they're a big team.
lively.
So I think that they wanted to win right now, but then after Kyrie got hurt, and then we Anthony Davis was a little banged up, and then they
hmm
signed Kyrie to the extension. I said, well, maybe it's a long-term thing. Now LA for sure did that their trade was all about long term. Like they were thinking
Yeah,
long term. They thought we got Luca. He's 25 years old. We're gonna have him, 5 years. Um, and and so with Dallas, they are now set up for the long run, having gotten that first pick.
yeah,
I
I agree.
do I do believe that we still have to see Cooper Flag play, but you have Jason Kidd. You have he's in the best situation a number one could be in. He's probably in the best situation that a number one could have been drafted in. Like I don't see any number one draft pick being in a better situation to win now. You
That's the
know,
truth.
Kyrie
Yeah,
could possibly be back, maybe All Star break, but we also know Kyrie, he will take his time coming back.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's it's interesting because the West is so deep. Like it's so hard to come out of the West. So even with
hmm
all that talent, you gotta look at young Houston. Houston
Yeah,
is a team. They're potentially set up
they're set up really
to
well,
to
especially after
to be a
they're pick.
championship team right now.
Yeah, especially after them picking up KD. You know what I'm saying, and adding a couple pieces here and there that's going to definitely help them. Yeah.
Right, right. Gary, what do you think about Kevin Durant going to Houston and that the with those young players, young pieces that they have?
Oh, I mean, that was an already exciting team in Houston. Exciting and young. I think next to the champions, the Oklahoma Thunder, I think they were the most exciting young team in the NBA last year. And getting that, I mean, any team that gets Kevin Durant is automatically a better team because he is just a pure scorer. And having, that veteran presence with those young players and what they got him for was a steal. I mean, good for Houston. And I think Phoenix is still paying some of the salary for Kevin Durant, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I mean it's a great move for Houston, and I think Phoenix is just it'll be years before they can ever recover from all of the mess that happened with KD, and then just all of the injuries with Booker and everybody else, on that team. Feel bad for the Phoenix fans, but yeah, that was a really great pickup for the Rockets, and I think
Yeah,
they should already be a contender for the Western Conference Championship next year.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I
definitely
I
agree with that.
I wouldn't. You're a Denver guy. You're a Colorado guy. I have to ask. What are your thoughts on the Denver Nuggets going into next season?
Well, I'm really encouraged by it. We got a big guy to help out Joker, which is really, really good. I'm gonna miss Michael Porter Jr. The dude was a warrior, but he was hurt so much, and that was a liability for us. And I think it definitely was a liability in the playoffs because we couldn't rely on him to make those 3-point shots and I mean he still did amazing stuff in is at like probably 50%. So if we could get rid of one of our core players, he would probably be the best choice. So bravo to our management for making that decision, and I hope if anything, bringing all these players and bringing a Brown back is really, really awesome because he's like a fan favorite and stuff. And having him back on the team and stuff, I think that's going to be a really good sign for us keeping Joker for a while too.
Right, right. Yeah, I questioned some of the decisions they made. Going into the playoffs, firing your head coach.
Yeah.
I thought it would be some issues. How did you react to that when you saw that? When you saw that firing.
That really was surprising. But at the same time, if you really, really read the signs, and I didn't even think about it until after they had fired him. But if you really look at the signs and stuff, one of the two, the GM or the coach, had to go. And the fact that they fired them both just meant that there was so much drama in that locker room that, yeah, they couldn't wait. And they were trying to risk having, if there would have been a really successful, I mean, we made it to the semifinals of the Western Conference, playoffs. But if we had made a decent run with their coach, then they probably would have had to keep him, and that would have just prolonged the drama that was happening in that locker room. And none of that is worth anything. I mean, it's just prolonging something like that is just bad for a team.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. I agree with that. It's funny you said that you said had they made a decent run, then they would have had to keep him. I think the Nets. I mean, not the Nets. The Knicks. Probably they should
Yeah,
have had
that's a good point.
the
Yeah,
same philosophy
yeah,
because the Knicks fire Thibodeau and hire Mike Brown. And in my opinion, if the Knicks don't go to the Eastern Conference Finals next year, then it was a bad firing and it was a bad
Yep.
hire.
Yep.
yeah,
Like if you don't make it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals, you haven't gained anything.
yeah,
You fired a coach that got you further than you had been in what
And
25 years.
man,
yeah.
years, yeah.
That's Patrick
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ewing.
like
Yeah,
for real.
right.
yeah.
And
Well,
and
and now's a great time to be in the Eastern Conference with all of the injuries that have happened to so many big stars. I mean, the Pacers aren't a
yes.
threat anymore because their best players hurt and out for
Yeah.
the entire
And
season. And the
and they
Celtics
lost
are in the
Miles
same
Turner.
boat. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
strange. Just let Miles Turner go for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Pacers are pretty much a lottery team next year. If you really look at what
Yeah.
happened to them just in the first
Yeah.
week of the offseason.
Right.
They
Right.
looking
Yeah.
bad right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they are.
Mike Brown's going to be the
Uh,
coach of the year, and he didn't even have to really improve on the team at all because everybody else kind of took a step down.
Down, yeah. I mean, because you think about Tatum and Boston. I mean, now I do feel like Boston has taken some hits, but again, the fact that the East is so weak, I don't think Boston is not a playoff team. Boston is still a playoff team. You still have Cleveland. You have the Knicks. So Cleveland, New York Knicks, and Boston are still, and I'm gonna throw Orlando in there. Orlando is, and so I have those teams as sure locks for playoffs, no doubt about it, right? And then you could add Atlanta. I
Yeah, I
think
like Atlanta's
it,
move.
here's the thing: we just don't know what Porzingis we're gonna get. Porzingis
That's true.
hasn't played over 50 games
It's
since,
quite some time. Yeah.
yeah. So that
Yeah, we don't even know what that injury was that he had last year.
right,
That
yeah,
was
we never,
mysterious.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
it
was kind of
was,
strange. That was very strange there.
and so that, but that still leaves the door open for, you know, so many other teams in the East. The East is wide open for anybody's taking. So,
I
um,
agree.
I think that helps Mike Brown. Um, and right now, like given what we've seen this off season, I think Cleveland is still the best team in the East. Even though we saw them collapse in the playoffs, I think they come back and I think they learn from that collapse, and
Yeah.
they will be better in the playoffs next season, in my opinion.
I I agree with that. I do. I definitely agree with that. It was kind of a shock to see them actually not make it. I didn't expect Indiana to play that well though. So, I mean, like
Right?
we
Yeah,
talked about it
Indiana
before,
was a
we
shocker.
wasn't
Yeah,
really they weren't really a team on the radar like that. But then looking at it, they play hard nosed defense, and that's the other part of Indiana that nobody was really, well, I wasn't, what I'm saying, really paying attention to that much, and
and
they've been
neither,
playing.
honestly.
They were playing good basketball the second half of the season. Great defense, and it showed. So
Yeah,
see what they do. Indiana does lose firepower without the Miles Turner, but I still I still think Cleveland is still the team out the East, especially with some of the moves that Boston made. Even though they lost Porzingis, but he really didn't. Like you said, he ain't play that much. I think the biggest hit with them would be Drew Holiday, even though Drew Holiday had a pretty injury prone season as well. But his defense is something different. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
they're gonna miss
great
that.
defender.
You know what I'm saying? There was rumors about them possibly trading, Brown and those Brown or White.
Yeah,
Which I don't think would have been smart if they did that. Especially when Tatum goes down. Why would you? Yeah, I'm not getting rid of my
Yeah,
superstars
especially
like
with
that.
Tatum down, you can't get rid of the defense aspect that
Yeah,
Brown and
yeah,
and Holiday brings to
yeah,
the equation, for that matter.
yeah.
yeah,
But they did pick up the young boy Anthony Simons, so he's pretty solid player. So I like how he plays the game. So he's an offensive. He gives them offensive firepower too. So
yeah.
they still going to be in the mix, but I do believe Cleveland is the best team right now.
The sleeper team that everybody fails to mention, but they could potentially be number two out of the East is Detroit Pistons.
They're good. They're
Yeah,
good. I'm interested to see what they do another year together. They didn't do anything to kill their team this offseason.
no,
So when you keep that same young core that's already been
if
hungry and grinding, I
yeah,
think
if
I
they
think
can
Detroit's gonna be a problem.
if they
I could
can
pin them in as
build
a playoff team.
right, yeah, if they can build off of what they were able to do this season, I mean they were a bad call away from advancing over the
Yeah,
Knicks.
that's a fact.
You really look at it, you know
Now
what I mean?
now Malik Beasley kind of, you know what I'm saying, shot
Oh
himself in the
yeah,
foot with this gambling thing though. And
Yeah, that's true.
he was on he had a career year, especially from the 3-point range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So we'll
yeah.
see what happens
That's one
with
of them.
that.
That's one of them young dumb mistakes right there, getting all
Yeah.
for
wrapped up
sure.
in that.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, for
You
sure.
already earned too much money, man. Ain't no need ain't no need for that.
Right.
Ain't no need
Yeah,
for it.
for sure.
I'm
Did
surprised
anybody
we haven't seen
expect?
that more
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah,
with the
for real.
prevalence of gambling in every day
Gambling.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anybody expect Milwaukee releasing Damian Lillard?
No, I think that's stupid anyway. But no,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
No, and they're still paying that salary. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, like for some time. Like
yeah,
you might as well just bought him out if you was gonna do something. Buy him out. I mean, I guess it's the same thing. Typically, you paying him
yeah.
anyway, so you could
wow.
have just bought him out of his contract.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
might have
but
been one of the biggest trade busts in the history of the NBA. Now looking back on it and stuff, because that that did not work out well at
It
all.
just
their
didn't
pro-
work. Yeah.
but their problem, I think their problem wasn't the Damian Lillard trade. It was when they fired Adrian Griffin
That's
to
true.
get Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
No, I like Doc. You know what I'm saying? I like Doc as a coach. I've always liked Doc as a coach, and I think sometimes he gets too much, flack for teams around him, like with the Clippers, or he can't get over this. But he's always had problems in the offseason, people getting injured. That's always been the MO with Doc Rivers and his teams, or people quitting. James Harden. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you know what I'm saying? So he's always getting flack for a lot of those things, but I think that was pretty much their downfall right there. Because Adrian Griffin had them on a 33-13 record or something before they decided to just out the blue let him go.
Yeah.
And you bring in Doc, and then it didn't look good after they did that. So I'm like, why did y'all do that? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And I think that was the beginning of this. What we're watching now is like, y'all shouldn't have done that. Y'all should have just kept Doc Rivers as an advisor, whatever he was, to the Bucks. You should have kept Adrian Griffin as the coach because he knew that team. He was already assistant on that team. He knew the personnel, and they were clicking. So I didn't understand that firing. That's just
And we
crazy to
still
me.
don't know if Giannis is happy or not.
For real.
We'll never know. We'll
Yeah,
never know.
Exactly. You can't read
yeah,
that
You
we'll
know,
guy.
it's
never
Yeah.
know.
and it's it's
I'm
it's it's interesting because Houston still has enough money to potentially get Giannis. Like they still have the pieces and the money to be able to
that's
get
crazy.
Giannis. Now, do
That's
I think it'll
crazy.
happen? No. But
Yeah,
it's
but
there, right? But
we've seen
we'll never
crazier
know.
things though. You know what I'm saying? It's like you think it happened. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, at the same time, you can't put nothing past anything now, man. We done seen Luca get traded this year. We done
Right.
seen firings of coaches out of random blue. We done seen so much craziness. I won't put it past it. You know what I'm saying? I won't. Who knows what might happen? And Giannis, he ain't saying nothing. And quite frankly, you need to just stay in Milwaukee, bro. You the one that you got your team where it's at. That's how I feel. You put your
I
team in this
agree.
position, so
Hmm.
stick it out.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I agree with that. Um, with with everything said, I know we're not done with the NBA offseason, but I want to know who is Gary. You first. Who's your dark horse? Adrian, you next. Who's your dark horse?
Oh, dark horses. Well, I liked what you said about the Orlando Magic. I think they can make a run, and we saw with the New York Knicks that anything can happen in the Eastern Conference as long as
Hmm.
you make it to the playoffs. I mean, how many games did they come back from 20 points down in that series against the
Yeah,
Celtics alone?
Celtics.
The
Yeah,
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 Celtics were
yeah,
supposed to run away with the entire conference, but anything can happen. And then with all of the injuries to all of the big players in the Eastern Conference, a team like Orlando or like you said, well, with like Detroit can make a run. And but but then it's not going to make any difference in the Western Conference because there's so many juggernauts over there right
yeah,
now, especially with Kevin Durant going to Houston and what Denver's doing to improve their team. We've got stability in the locker room now with Dunleavy as our full time coach now, and just the Thunder. I mean, they're built to be a dynasty if
yes,
if they continue to do what they're doing because I heard you guys, I believe it was the last podcast where, I mean, SGA is already, a top 5 player in the NBA, but they got
Hmm.
those young squires, with like Holmgren, and there's so many young players that if they continue to elevate like they have been, I mean, there's no telling how many times they can run off championships. And those guys are so
It's
loose.
a fact.
For such a
Yeah,
young team, they should be more nervous. But
Yeah.
they're not.
they're just having so much fun, and you can see it in the press conferences after the
Yeah,
games, and you
Hmm.
can see it on the bench during timeouts and stuff. They're not even nervous about this or anything, and that's what really scares me most of all is these guys are just like it's not it's almost like it's not that big of a deal, and nobody's told them that it is a big deal, so they're just
yeah, yeah,
they're just chilling. It's really fun to watch them just play
Excuse
as
me.
easy and as loose as they are.
Yep.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree
for
with that.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Um, I hate to do it, but I'm pretty much you know heard me for years. We always for the last few episodes or sometimes I look at Orlando, just like Gary here. I look at Orlando as being a dark horse there. I've liked the way that they've been constructed. Um, they did a couple of things in this offseason that I do like. I like them getting Desmond Bain. I think that helps them, especially with the shooting, because that's one thing Orlando needs is another shooter, and he
Yeah,
plays pretty good defense on the perimeter. So I like that pickup. They didn't have to do a whole lot of move. They almost, well, I think they overpaid for Desmond Bain. Trust, be honest, but you lose a few round picks down the years, but at the same time, though, I think it was a good pickup for that team. So I look at Orlando as being one of my dark horses there because I've always liked the way that they played the last couple of years. They're not scared of the big moments, even though they fall short. But you've seen what they did against Boston. Even though Boston pretty much handled the series, I still seen a lot of fight in them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't just go out with a fight, without a fight. The year prior to that, when they lost to who did they lose to? Was it Indiana or was it Boston the year prior?
I think it was
Either
Boston.
way, I think it was Boston 2 years in a row. But either way it goes, just watching them play. No, it wasn't Boston. It was Cleveland. They
Oh
played
yeah,
Cleveland in a
yeah, it
real good
was Cleveland. You're
series,
right. Yeah, it was
and
Cleveland. It was a
yeah, they
close
played
series.
them. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I like what they have. They just needed. They need. It's like they're a piece away from being in your conversations all the time. Like when we talk about them, it's kind of like at the end of the year, you're like, yeah, they'll get in. We're thinking like 6, 7, 8. You know how they been. It's kind of like they kind of sit on that threshold there. Play in. You know what I'm saying? They might meet you, but I really like Ben Carroll. I like the nucleus they have there. I think with another year, adding Bane helps them. So I like Orlando as my dark horse, especially in the East. You know what I'm saying? And with Indiana plummeting out, I like what they did there. Outside of that, that would be one. The other one would be like we talked about. Detroit is another one, but I'm gonna have to piggyback on the the Magic here.
okay. All right. I have Detroit um as mine, and out the West, I mean, as a Laker guy, like I'm gonna get killed for this, but watch out for the Clippers. I don't know what it is. I feel like they're the best, not best. Like they're the best team
Well,
that nobody talks about.
yeah, and to be honest with you, I like their move of picking up Brooke Lopez. That was a good move for the off
Right?
season for
Yeah.
him. He's a stretch big out there.
Yeah.
They might. I don't know what Chris Paul is gonna do, but if they do pick up Chris Paul,
He said they're
everybody's always against. A lot of people's always against Chris Paul, but you know how I feel and how we feel about Chris Paul, man. It's like
Yeah. For sure.
he he helps winning. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't everywhere he goes, whether he don't have to be 15, 20. He just helps winning in a lot of ways. So I like to see what he does there. If he goes to the Clippers, I don't know if he made a decision of what he wants. I know it said he wanted to be either with Phoenix or he wanted to go to the Clippers again. So I like if Chris Paul goes there. I do like them out the West being something. If Kawhi stays a full healthy throughout the whole year, yeah, yeah, they could be a problem. And if James Harden stays locked in all year long,
James Harden actually had a
he's
really efficient season this past
yeah,
season.
he did. He did. This is the first time in a long time I've seen him have just stay locked in the whole year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
true.
he's always been my problem with a lot of his teams. He
Yeah, see
just
what he
don't
looks
seem
like when he
interested.
comes back from the off season. I mean, that's been his
Yeah,
biggest problem is not
yeah,
staying in shape during the off season, and then
Yeah,
injuries, and then he just
yeah,
disappears in games. So yeah, but
yeah.
if him and Kawhi and Chris Paul, if they
Hmm.
can be healthy in the playoffs, and like you said, add Lopez. I mean that's a dangerous
Yeah,
that's a dangerous squad right
really.
there. So that's a good pick.
yeah,
And all you did was, I mean, they lost Norman Powell, which I think kind of hurts them. But who did they pick up? I forgot who was in that trade though. But at the end of the like I said, at the end of the day though, I like the Clippers as a dark horse in the West. It's kind of like, is it really a dark horse or are they just nobody really? I mean, I guess you could say dark horse, but they're a really
yeah,
good team.
yeah.
But I think James Harden did last year kind of bomb that last game. I think he only shot like 12, 15 times.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, the playoffs he was pretty absent.
He
Absent,
yeah,
yeah,
he don't really do, and that's my problem with him. Like he's a good player, but you're never gonna get a championship playing like that. Like
yeah,
you're never gonna win one, and I have to question: are you really into winning, or are you just trying to just get a bag?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I'm looking at it. Because I mean, he's done played on some some talented teams, man. He doesn't play with.
Yeah, he
He's
has,
done
for
had
sure.
great players beside him. Dwight Howard, one year they were good in Houston. That year, the next year, the next time they get Chris Paul, they go all the way deep into the playoffs. Literally, you're one game from going to getting over the hump and getting to the finals. Chris Paul goes down. James Harden goes with them somehow, and
Yeah,
he's not injured. Chris Paul
yeah,
was injured, so it's like then you go to Philadelphia. You forced your way out of Houston. Go to Philadelphia. Get all the way to the playoffs. Big no show in another game 7.
yeah,
So I'm
Yeah,
questioning:
yeah,
are you really into winning, or are you just trying to get a bag just to say you're good?
yeah. And there were
yeah,
2 games in that Sixers series where he was the reason they won. So it's like,
Yeah,
why can't you do that for 7 games instead of just 2 games and disappear the other 5?
five,
yeah.
yeah,
Mister, I
yeah,
am
for
the
sure.
system.
Yeah, right. It's
And can I
interesting.
address one thing, Will, about a
Yeah,
conversation you had a little while ago with regards to Kobe and McGrady? And,
okay. Let's talk about it.
you know, I don't think McGrady was trying to insult Kobe, but um, and I love you Lakers fans for this, but it seems like anytime Kobe's name comes out of anybody's mouths, you guys get like the mama bear mentality and stuff, and you want to just like go on the attack. But I don't think it was much of a mention to how much better he was than Kobe at the time. I think if I played for the Lakers instead of Kobe back during Shaq's dominant days, they would have still won 3 championships. That's I don't think people really appreciate how dominant Shaquille O'Neal was in the late 90s. And Kobe having him on the team as well, just made it that much more. I mean, they made it look easy for those 3 years or whatever. It was almost like
Really?
watching the Bulls in the 90s and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if McGrady was on that team, they probably would have won 3 championships as well. If I was on that team, we probably won 3 championships. Just it's not a slap or a comparison because you can't compare Kobe to McGrady because Kobe's,
Yeah.
his greatness was he was great for 20 years almost. I mean,
Yeah,
the longevity of his career was just
Until he got
remarkable.
injured. And even when he
Exactly.
was injured, he still was he still was
Exactly.
pretty
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
That guy was he was great on a different level than anyone, including Tracy McGrady. But yeah, I think that's the whole point of the conversation. I mean, sure, McGrady's got that spirit, that killer spirit, so he thinks he's better than everybody else, and that mentality you got to have, to be a great player in any sport. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think
facts.
that's where he was going. And yeah, you Lakers fans need to just relax sometimes, man.
You see the big cheese on my face. I was, Musa. Um,
You're awfully
hey,
quiet over there, Will.
well, we will agree to disagree because the way I look at it is Shaq's not being that dominant without Kobe. Like there's no way he's being that dominant without the chemistry that him and Kobe had. I don't think that the way Kobe played was very, very beneficial to Shaq. The same
Of
way
course.
him, Penny Hardaway and Shaq played, that chemistry. I think the way Tracy McGrady plays, I don't think that same chemistry would have been there. And the reason I say that is because if you go back and look at film, when Yao Ming was healthy, it was more of Tracy McGrady creating his own shots and Yao Ming being able to do his own thing, but there wasn't much of the we know how to dish to each other kind of thing. Just
Well,
my
I'm gonna say this. You have to learn about, and this is where a lot of people say the system plays a role. You talk about Kobe and Shaq, but you know what system they ran that in, right?
yeah,
Ran
That
I'm
triangle
fully
offense,
aware.
right?
Phil Jackson ran the same
So
offense his
when
whole
you talking
coaching
about
career.
coaching, that's where coaching comes in. So Phil Jackson's triangle offense ain't really set up for anybody to. It doesn't have a designated score. You know what I'm saying? He's even said that on. I watched one of these old videos where he was talking about Scottie Pippen being mad that he wasn't part of a game where he shot the ball 6 times, and he was kind of like in an interview. And in the interview after that, from what Scottie said, it had Phil Jackson in the interview, and Phil was like, "Well, you're just gonna have to ask Scottie why he only shot the ball 6 times because there's no plays ran for Michael to score or Pippen to score." It's the same thing when you looked at, when you was looking at that triangle offense with Kobe and Shaq. It's made to create an offense and mismatches. It takes advantage of the mismatches. So I think that you put a Tracy McGrady inside that same type of offense with the same type of coaching, he does the same type of thing with Kobe. Look at McGrady's stats, even on a solo team, he's averaging 24, 6 and 5, 6 and 6. Comparable stats to what Kobe is, but he's more of a focal point. The Lakers, they didn't have a real focal. It was really, they played the old school way of playing inside outside ball. And Kobe was the one that can hit you off with the ISO if Shaq was double, tripled down there. And then, of course, they had an arsenal of weapons out there to shoot them three balls like Ori and Derek Fisher and
Wow, yeah.
Rick Fox and all that other stuff. But I feel like if you do take a McGrady and you put him in that system, they still be as successful. That's just how I personally feel. Because ISO ball, there wasn't nobody really going to be able to stop McGrady, just like there was really nobody that could stop Kobe in the same breath. So you have to see how the system works. That's how that system would have ran. That's how I personally feel. Yao Ming and McGrady, I don't know what happened with that. That should have been a lot better than what they ended up showing out there. So, hey, that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. But hey, hey, but I understood what McGrady was trying to say, and that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you
Fair
took
enough.
that team and let's just say you replaced D Wade with Kobe. I mean Kobe with D Wade at that time. I still think they win another couple of championships. Just like when Shaq came to Miami and played with D Wade, they won a championship that year.
Now D
Although
Wade was being
they
disrespectful.
Oh
D
no.
Wade was being disrespectful. You ain't no Kobe. D Wade, you're really good. You're no Kobe. You're no Kobe.
No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
not.
no,
you're
He's not
no
Kobe.
Kobe.
He's not Kobe.
no, and you're
None of
right.
them Kobe. I
Think
mean, just to
either.
be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah.
none of them Kobe.
And that's the point. I mean, with Kobe, that was a nasty team, but Shaq was that dominant back then. I mean, it wasn't even fair, man.
Okay, well, hey, look, no arguments from me. We, long as y'all respect the fact that Kobe is that guy. Like Kobe had a
Yeah,
different
of
level.
course.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
there's
As a
not even a
Nuggets fan,
debate about
I
that.
hate him. I hate him to my very
And
core, but I respect
I've
him, you know?
exactly, and I've never been a big Kobe fan
I
because
can't
I used
stand
to
the guy.
root against the Lakers during that time. I got
Right.
sick of seeing them winning. I wanted the Kings to win. I was a Garnett fan, and they beat them boys too. I love Portland. You know what I'm saying? I wanted
Right.
Portland to win. They
Yeah.
lost it.
Yeah.
I was just like, can't nobody beat this
Chris
dang team.
Webber. Yeah, there was so many
So
attempts.
there was so many teams that they just you know what I'm saying? Even though one of them had a chance, but that long tip rebound and Robert Ory hitting that big clutch shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big shot,
But
Rob.
I was not the biggest fan, but I respect Kobe's game. I definitely respect him, and even now, of course, even before he passed on, you know what I'm saying? You gained a lot of respect for him, especially when he did it on his own. And he was the main focal point. Of course, he had Paul Gasol, but it was Kobe's show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kobe went out and showed that, hey, look, I could win without Shaq, and that gains even more respect for that. So you know what I'm saying?
Right. All right. Well, I have taken what y'all have both said, and I respect it. I understand.
He ain't
I
never
will
gonna agree
accept
with
it. You know.
it.
And we just okay. I'm just gonna.
Yeah,
You
we
know
we
what?
agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying?
Look. I'm just
Hey.
gonna say okay. I have accepted what both of y'all have to say.
Right on.
All right. Do we want to get into some NFL? Because we've talked a lot about playoff potential and stuff for next year for the NBA. But what we have coming up soon is NFL. We are like weeks away from the NFL starting.
Yeah.
And so I would like to dive in and put talk about we'll talk. I wanted to talk about the NFC North. We talked about talking about the NFC North,
Hmm.
but before we kind of get into that, what are some of the big highlights of the off season for you guys? Gary, go ahead. Go ahead first. What are some of the big highlights of the off season for you?
The big highlights, I mean, it's been interesting to see where veteran players have gone. I know it's almost exhausting to talk about him at this point, but Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh has been
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know how that's going to work with Tomlin, so that's going to be fun to watch. And of course, Kelsey coming back. I didn't know if he was going to retire, but he even said on his podcast that there's no way he was going to go out like that, because he had such a bad Super Bowl and stuff.
Right.
But, there are the NFC North we were going to talk about. I just think that's a fascinating division. And if the
Hmm.
Bears, if they get better, like I think they will, I mean, they can't get much worse, but with Caleb Williams being a year older and stuff, and the improved offense that you're hoping they're going to have with the new coach and stuff, that team, that whole division, I mean, they had two teams that won 14 games, which has never happened in the history of the NFL.
Right.
But then you don't know how the Vikings are going to fare now because, they have to figure their quarterback out and stuff. So, what's going to
Yep.
happen with them. And of course, Green Bay, they're always lurking, and they've got, I think, one of the best young coaches in the NFL in LaFleur and stuff.
And
So,
LaFleur.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, that,
Yeah.
that that whole division is so interesting. Of course, you can never count out Detroit now with the just nucleus that they have, and you know how much I love
Yeah.
Jared Goff. Will,
Yeah.
one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL, and his accuracy is amazing, and those young players that are around him are getting better. And if their defensive lineman, I can't remember his name right now, I don't know why, but
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, if he comes
Yeah.
back from his injury and stuff, I mean, he was gone almost all last year. So if he comes back,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit's going to be dangerous, I think, this year. And they could potentially, I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in Philly. I mean, they had a great postseason, and I thought they caught lightning in a bottle, and they were the perfect team to play against the Chiefs, with the way their defensive line is and stuff. And they played a lot like the Buccaneers did when they beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I still think they're beatable, and I think the Lions and maybe even the Packers might be the teams that do it because of just the young quarterbacks that they've got and the good coaches that are on both those teams.
Yeah. What do you have, Adrian? What do you think?
I mean, the veteran, what he brought up with the veterans going, like, Devontae Adams going to the Rams,
Yeah.
That's
Cooper
huge.
Kupp leaving, and where did Kupp go again?
Seattle.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Seattle.
didn't he go up north?
Home.
Yeah.
He
What
went
the heck
home.
happened?
He
Why would
went
they?
he went to the same division,
Yeah.
just a different team.
The
But just
West
seeing,
does that.
yeah, all the time. But to see a lot of those movements was actually with the veteran players moving the trade with I'm interested to see about like how Oakland's gonna fare with their trade with the DK Metcalf trade, picking him up. You know what I'm saying? Um, was
Yeah,
it
new
Met?
With
coach. Yeah.
No.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
I mean, not
Wait,
Seattle.
Metcalf.
But yeah,
Come
Metcalf
out
didn't go
Seattle.
there.
Vegas.
Sorry,
Yeah.
No, Seattle. Yeah, he
Pittsburgh.
left there and went to
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pittsburgh. He went to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, I'm not gonna talk about Aaron and I mean, it sounds like he's been trying to buy into Tomlin's system or whatever, or the way that Tomlin moves sounds like, at least from some of the reports, he's supposed to be buying in. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers does whatever he does. So I'm bored of that. Um, NFC North. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff has just been a lot of the player movements that has been interesting. Of course, one of the big things that I didn't like about the offseason is the dismantlement of my defense in San Francisco. But I do like some
Yeah.
of the retooling that we have done. Some of the pickups that we have had as far as the draft was concerned. The draft was interesting, of course. The Shador Sanders fiasco. But
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
outside of that, like the NFC North is going to be an interesting division to watch again because they just look like they're seemingly set up for another just a complete chaos over there of what they're going to do to each other and possibly to the NFC. Um, Another thing that was interesting is just watching Washington grow again.
Yeah.
With the weapons that they pick up in the off season, and just to see Jaden Daniels another year, to see what he does in the second year, that is going to be something
Wow.
that's going to be on my radar. Because that boy is just exciting. So I'm excited to see what Washington does. I ain't never going to root for him like that, but I'm excited to see what they do. Now that they got Debo, I really going to be like, all right, bro, yeah. It's where you want to go anyway.
Well, I'd like to see him become the exciting player again that we used to see, in those few years in San Francisco. Because I missed just
Yeah.
he was fun to watch.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. That's my boy.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't want to see him do it in another jersey. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Hey, I want to see you do what you did last year. You know what I'm saying? Since that's how you treat my team, I need you to do like you did last year. Disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, no,
See
but
if you get McCaffrey
I like
back,
Debo, man. I want to see Debo flourish. I like to see him play. He's an exciting player. I think out of all of it, though, I'm really just interested to see how the NFC is going to be, just as a totality of a conference, because NFC just seems more exciting to me. There's a couple of things that I'm looking at in the AFC that's kind of got me like, let's see what the Jets gonna be like. Cleveland might be decent. You know what I'm saying? If they get
what's
a good,
always interesting about the AFC? What's always interesting about the AFC over the last 4 or 5 years, right? You have Cincinnati, you have Pittsburgh, you have Baltimore, and
Buffalo.
when Buffalo.
Buffalo.
And so those four teams are always like, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
always so, yeah, like it, like
Yeah.
everything matters. Everything, like every
Mm-hmm.
little thing matters with those teams. And so that's what makes it so interesting with the
That's true.
AFC.
That's true.
Everything matters. Every little thing matters. I mean, everything. Like, I
But
just,
ultimately, the only thing that makes it boring about the AFC is that it's always those teams. It's like they don't really have
yeah,
a lot of times it's not really, sometimes Cleveland might look like they might do something
Yeah,
and then they end up being trash.
yeah,
And you look over here, you're like, oh, Miami, y'all showing out, but then y'all can't beat the big name teams, so you're
right.
trash. The Jets got a good defense. You ended up being trash. It's just
Yeah,
like they get teams that always seem to be like, oh, we're building. They might be something next year. Then next year they're trash. And then the
yeah.
next it's like, oh, there they go again, and then they're trash again. And then it's like, oh, there you go, they're trash again. And it's just like, well, we're still stuck with the same juggernaut teams every single year. San
Well,
Diego has been interesting to me. They're an interesting team.
or well, Los Angeles Chargers now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, my
yeah,
bad.
it's tough to get used to,
My
right?
bad. Yeah, I'm
No,
still in
it's
the
okay.
back of the old days. But yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
Los Angeles Chargers, they've always been they're interesting with John Harbaugh out there because I like what he did with them last year.
yeah. In
I want to
Denver, of
Colts.
see.
course,
I want
with
to
Bo
see Bo
Nix in the
Nix.
second year.
I want to see
Hmm.
what Bo Nix is about to do.
Yeah, now Denver, they might be something. They might have a little something to say. Maybe a little something, maybe. They looked pretty decent last year with Knicks. He played his butt off.
Yeah, and Peyton's figuring out Kansas City. I think he beat them. Well, the last year we beat them with like half a roster at the end of
Yeah.
the year, but they almost beat them when everybody was playing full strength and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, Peyton's a good coach, and I think he's really close to figuring out Kansas City. And I don't, for whatever reason, I don't think that Baltimore or Buffalo know how to beat Kansas City. Um, I don't know what it is about those two teams and their inability to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So maybe it does need to be a dark horse team like the Bengals did a couple of years ago, who just kind of, catch him at the right time and beat him. Because, yeah, and unless
Yeah.
something happens, you're right. It's kind of like,
Like
who's going to
you
beat
get
him?
hopes for somebody about to pop in and knock off the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they just melt away into play. Even though Buffalo has always been this close
It's
from
close.
beating
Yeah.
KC,
Yep.
always they beat them in the regular season,
Yeah.
and then you go into playoffs and you just can't quite. Uh, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just like you just can't quite figure them out in the playoffs in the big game, but regular season you seem to be able to find ways to beat them in the regular season, but in that playoff, it's just like I was like, dang, come on,
Yeah, yeah, I thought
y'all
you'd have
had them,
them this year being at home and stuff, but nope, it still fell
and the
apart.
Ravens be the same way. It's just like
Exactly.
y'all, but see, the Ravens' problem was they played a whole different game than what they should have did the year prior. I don't know what they thought about with not letting Lamar Jackson loose and running
Yeah,
like he normally does and running the football. That just didn't make any sense. And y'all wanted to be a passing team, and that just was then Kansas City was just like, oh yeah, go ahead. This is what we
Yeah.
want you to do. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
yeah. What do
But
you
yeah,
think Pete Carroll's going to do in Vegas?
I think
Vegas
Vegas
is.
gonna be solid.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think they'll be
They're
solid.
gonna be a better team.
they're a whole different team this year. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. They're
nothing's the
going to be a better team.
They got Gino. They've got yeah,
The thing is that has now made that now made that division so tough because I actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
top to
because
bottom they
you
are.
have the
They're real
Chargers,
strong.
you have the Broncos, you have the Raiders, and you have Kansas City. and that is going to make that division one of the more competitive divisions in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we're we're no longer just looking at Cincinnati and Baltimore and Cleveland and
And the Steelers.
and the
Yeah.
Steelers. Now we're looking at, all right, well, we got something over here with the Chargers, Raiders, the Broncos, and Kansas City. So that
Yeah.
that has now made the AFC much tougher, because even last year we didn't know that Denver would potentially be as good as they were, right? They
Yeah.
they
That's for
exceeded
sure.
expectations, and now with built on to what they know they can do, the confidence that they have going into the season is through the roof now, especially for Bo Nix. You
Yeah.
know, um, and then you have Harbaugh and with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you say. Any team that he's gone, the coach
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've
has
been
been
winners.
confident.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
and Pete Carroll, regardless of how it ended in Seattle, Pete Carroll is a hell of a coach.
Yes, he
Mhm.
is.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he,
You could
he,
see Kansas City could easily be the last team in the NFC or the AFC West next year. Um,
realistically, based
yeah,
on
Yeah.
yeah, which
This is
is
true.
mind blowing. But yeah, they could easily lose to all three of the other teams in the AFC West.
Yeah.
They
This
can
is
miss the
very
playoffs and
true.
everything after being
all
the
four teams
juggernaut
have
that they've
Hall of
been.
Fame coaches.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
they
That's
do.
so cool.
All of them. I didn't
all
even notice that. Yeah, all of them
all
have a
four
Hall of
teams have
Fame
Hall of
coach
Fame
now.
coaches.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's a interesting division to keep up with and watch. Um,
Yeah. True.
you
True.
know, maybe even more so than you know uh, Cincinnati and those guys, because we know what we're getting out of that, right? We if we're getting what we've gotten out of that division for the last 4 years, we know what to expect out of that. And while it's exciting, it's always exciting to see a division come up the way it has. That's what made the NFC North so exciting over the last couple of years, because it's like, oh, these teams went from, like watching Detroit come from Detroit to what they are today, right?
Yeah.
Now they're a household name. Like before it was like, oh, Detroit and the for Thanksgiving again. Oh gosh, It was
Yeah. I
like,
don't want to watch this.
yeah, right. Um Minnesota is kind of, we don't know.
Yeah.
Quarterback
Because the
situation has
quarterback
changed,
situation.
but whenever you have Justin Jefferson, you know,
Yeah. And they still
y-
coming back with Aaron Jones.
yeah,
So, they still got a running game. And I mean, we just have to see how what's his name does after the injury that he had, because they drafted when they drafted what's his name, is it what is his name, starts with the M,
oh,
doesn't it?
yeah,
McCartney from Michigan. Yeah, JJ McCartney.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
who they wanted, but they ended up with Aaron Sam Donald because of the fact that he went down, and
right.
so I'm curious to see how he does coming back off the injury, see how he can get into play with the Minnesota Vikings to see if he can actually do anything. Um, but
what are
the
your thoughts
NFC
on
North,
the South though, the NFC South?
Ooh,
Because I
great
look at
question.
like
Yeah,
Tampa Bay is a great team, right? And I think that they've got a
yeah.
lot of upside because like Mike Evans is
hmm
one of the most underrated receivers in the last 10 years.
yes, he is.
But
Yes, he is.
I think they, I think, and I live in Carolina, so I've seen this division more than any other division on TV and stuff. But I think the Panthers, with as relatively weak as the rest of the NFC South is, or as vulnerable, I guess I could call them, I think the Panthers could make a
Call it.
potential
Yeah.
run for the top of that division this year.
They they can um like we discussed with the Panthers, for their problem was you got a young quarterback, but you did nothing to help him out. There
Right.
was no
Yeah.
line, no
Oh,
weapons.
yeah.
You got rid of all your old weapons, and you have nothing for him.
And that was the
So
problem
it's
with him. Yeah. Was that every time he got the ball, once he caught the snap, he was running for his life. I mean, it
yeah,
was
for
like
real.
Shedeur Sanders was, for those 2 year, that first year in Colorado, where there was no offensive
Exactly.
line to help him. But they've got their quarterback whisperer up here now, and they got some receivers in the draft. And
hmm
I, Bryce Young made, after he got benched for a couple of games for Andy Dalton last year, when he came back, I saw a difference in him. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's
he's
potential
all
for him
he's
big
definitely
time. I love
played.
that
He
kid.
played better at the he
Hmm.
played better at the end of the year, and Bryce Young is a decent quarterback.
I love that kid.
If
Yeah.
people don't think he is, he's always been a pretty decent quarterback. And he just was in a bad situation when you first got there. It's like me and Big Will done said for countless. You can't win without an offensive line. There is no as important the quarterback is. You're never going to win if you have nobody that's gonna block for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Period.
And I think having the crazy owner that they have too, that has caused a lot of
Yeah.
just uneasiness in the locker room and stuff, and too much pressure for a young quarterback and stuff. And when you have the revolving door with coaches that they've had and stuff, if they
hmm
get a coach that's good, which I think they did, the coach that we have now definitely did great things with the Tampa Bay quarterback. I can't remember his name right now, but you know, um, I think that there's potential for the Panthers to at least win more games than they lose next year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But to piggyback off of that, just going into it's kind of like Bryce Young had a what you call him situation. Justin Fields in Chicago. You never did have really you didn't have no kind of coaching staff that was going to coach. It's like just throwing you out into the fire, and then people want to blame you for your team not winning,
Yeah,
and you're just like, I'm just thrown out to the fire, which
that's a good comparison.
is something that Chicago, just to piggyback and kind of slide over into the north, like Chicago, they've been just a bucket of mediocrity because of their coaching. They can't get it right. The ownership could never get it right. I'm interested to see what they could do this year because they've added more pieces. Like last year, they've had good pieces. Um, See what Caleb Williams does with another year under his belt. Learning because they definitely shown growth during the end part of the season. You can see that they started doing things. They never really their defense used to kind of keep them into a game, or they look like, well, this game is over with. Then at the end of the game, it's just like, huh, did they finally figure something out? and then they make a game out of something that looked like it was just nothing. Um, so I think that Carolina had the same situation in Chicago. You got a bad he dropped off. I guess Big Wood don't like our take.
Yeah, he's still mad
but I
about
think
Kobe comments. Yeah,
but I think that those two teams kind of they kind of had a similar, you know
yeah,
what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
It's the coaching staff and ownership is just like when you got
Yeah,
so much turmoil up here, it just trickles down. No matter how the talent you had, you just ain't got the coaching staff to make anything work.
yeah. You could almost expand that into the San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers as well, because they had the worst coach in the history of the NFL before they got Harbaugh, and
Oh
they've gone
yeah.
through the same thing. They've gone through so many coaching struggles, and then you got this amazing talent and quarterback, and they're not making proper use of them. So
Yeah.
those are great comparisons. I really like the Justin Fields comparison though, because who
hmm
knows what he could have been if they would have actually set him up for success.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
real. For
Justin
real.
Justin Fields
Welcome
got
back, Will.
hosed.
We about to say you didn't like our
Yeah.
take, so you just went ahead and just disappeared on us, huh?
No. The internet's
still
dry.
still salty about them Lakers, that Laker
No.
thing, huh? Okay. Yeah, You know what I'm saying?
Um,
Hard
I,
feelings.
Justin Fields got hosed. Bryce Young is gonna have a better year. Um, I think Tampa and Atlanta. Um, I think Tampa and Atlanta are teams that have a high ceiling and could potentially do something. Um,
And the Saints are gonna poo poo again.
the Saints are gonna poo poo again.
They're gonna
Yeah,
poo
they
poo
they
again.
don't. They Saints like go in there and just flip a coin
Let's
and
go ahead.
just
Y'all
yeah
go and get him the number 1 draft pick, man. They gonna
yeah
poo poo.
yeah
They boo boo down there in
Well,
Baton
it's all
Rouge.
the teams in New Orleans. Yeah, it's they're just
yeah all of them all of them like
even.
it's bad. I you know what it is too. I think speaking of New Orleans just in general the Saints are I what's the best way to put this? Like a team could have so much success and they were bad for so long. Then they go through these years of success with Drew
hmm
Brees and
Yeah.
Sean Payton and all of that.
hmm
And the reality is over the last 2 years, on paper, their defenses have been really good on paper. But I think they had so much success that they the best way I could put it is they tried so hard to be those teams of the Drew
hmm
Brees and the Sean Paytons. You're not gonna be that because you don't have those pieces. You have to
Yeah.
figure out another way. You're gonna have to adapt.
Yeah,
And I just don't
especially
think
with
they've
David Carr as your quarterback. Yeah.
well, yeah,
He's been a bucket of
right.
Yeah,
mediocrity.
with Carr, I mean, you had Carr as your quarterback and Winston on the bench, and you're still going with Carr. I mean, that automatically just
Yeah,
makes you call their decision making. You know,
yeah,
And no
decisions are.
matter what people were to say, Jameis Winston may not be a great quarterback, but I will say he looks better than David Carr a lot of times.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
absolutely.
that would have been
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
he would have been starting over Carr for me.
Now, I've told
Um,
Will this many times, and I want to get your opinion on this, Adrian. I think if
mhm.
they would have started Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay the year that they won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, they still would have won a Super Bowl that year. That's how good that team was put together. And I don't think that Brady was that much better than Jameis Winston at that point in his career. How you look
Here's the
surprised
thing.
for this?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree that their defense their team was constructed very well.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for Tom Brady to be set up for winning there. They had
Yes,
everything.
yes,
Mhm.
The only problem I have is yes, I could say yeah, that's possible, but the thing about it is Jameis Winston does have the tendency to do too much.
He's his own worst enemy.
And
Absolutely. Hmm.
yeah, and that's always been his problem. It's not that he's a terrible quarterback. It's just when you watch him, it's just like, oh man, oh snap, Winston going off. And then he gonna throw 4 touchdowns and 4 picks. And
Yeah.
it's just like those
I,
four
I,
picks hurt your team. And it's just like
yeah. I had him one year on my
it,
fantasy, and there were days where he would score 5 touchdowns and throw for 400 yards.
yeah.
And then the next week he
Yes.
would throw for like 150 and 4 interceptions. And you're like, who's
And,
going to play today? You know?
yeah, it's just like,
it's,
and that's
that's the
always been he's
biggest.
so turnover prone, and I
Yeah.
think that would have kept them from actually succeeding because he still like with Cleveland last year when it was I
Hmm.
think it was last year he
yeah,
was
Yeah.
there. He
yeah,
had a game where I was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
Jameis Winston is going off,
yeah.
and then at the end of the game, he then threw a pick six and then threw another interception the
The game
very next
against
drive.
Baltimore, wasn't it?
I
Yes,
think that
Yeah,
was the game where he was playing
yes,
in snow for the first time in his career or something. You
yes.
remember that
yeah,
And
game?
he was he was showing out, and I'm
Yeah.
looking like Winston is
This is it.
man. They causing wow, and then it's just like, well,
There you go.
He's back to what he
Pittsburgh.
always
That's who they
do.
were playing. Pittsburgh.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was Pittsburgh.
It
The
was
game against
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh. It's
yeah.
just like, well, he's back to what he always do. Throws an interception. There's another interception. Well,
Yeah.
there it is. It's just like, and I think that would have been the ultimate thing that kept them from winning a Super Bowl that year. It just would have been Jameis Winston. As much as I like the guy, because I like his character, his leadership, I don't care what anybody, you can call him kooky, corny, or whatever anybody want to say about how he do things and this little eating the W and all that other stuff. But one thing people can't say about him is that he's not a leader.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's a leader, and he's a person that has winning at heart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
He's gonna make you want to go out and play for him.
Yeah.
I'm out here playing for him. You need to be out here playing for your team too, because you playing for the other team ain't helping us.
Yeah. You're gonna want to play hard for him.
Yeah, yeah. When he was backing up Carr, I mean, you could see the difference on his teammates. You know, the way they were playing and stuff when he would come in, and most of the time it was too late because Carr had already put them in such a huge hole. But yeah, you could definitely see a difference. And it was mainly because of the way he leads, he leads the men on it.
Yeah. And you just really, there's no replacement for a guy like that on your team. Whether he's on the bench, he doesn't have any ego. And that is amazing about him. There's no ego. He don't care if he's starting or if he's on the bench. He's still going to ride for his team. And I believe they still would have been successful. Do I think they would have? If he can get out of his own way, I believe, yes, they could have won a Super Bowl still with them. If he got out of his own way. He just never proved that he can get out of his own way.
Just that 1 year when he won the Heisman,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he's a great talent, great quarterback, great guy. He just has to sometimes get out of his own way. Stop. Sometimes you don't need to force that. You know what I'm saying? Don't force those shots,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hot take, since the discussion was NFC North, we're talking about all of them.
We're all the way off that whole entire time.
Yeah, no, but hot take is Green Bay wins that division this year.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Green Bay wins that division this year.
Yeah. They might have the best their division, I
agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jared Goff is really good. I like Sam Laporta being there. I think that Detroit is a really, really good offense. But one thing I watched is every time Detroit played against Green Bay last year, even though Detroit would win, Green Bay made Detroit play their game.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that one game where it looked like Detroit was about to take it all the way over and they were just doing whatever they want. That second half, Green Bay came out like,
and Green Bay
we're just going to change the way this whole entire game's going to go. And they literally could have won that game too. Yeah. Green Bay is an excellent coach team. They have a really good defense. They have a great offense. Literally, Green Bay and Detroit are kind of like, you could say Detroit has the edge offensively, but I think defensively they're equal. I will give Detroit a little more with the offense because they have the dual backs that they got back there. Right. Their playmakers in Detroit are ridiculous.
Amon Brown is crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So they're ridiculous, and that's what keeps them. And they're aggressive.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that Detroit has that a lot of teams don't do. Detroit is constantly aggressive.
How much could be the detriment without Ben Johnson?
I don't think the aggressive.
We'll see. I don't think the aggressive because that's within their head coach. Yeah, that's their head coach. He believes that no matter what, I'm going to get a first down. But I think 4 down territory. We're going to go.
I think losing Ben Johnson is gonna. It might be the reason why Green Bay becomes the new champions of the NFC North. Yeah,
and that could be though, because sometimes just one little
coordinator.
Yeah. A coaching changes a lot. I mean, we see that all the time. It could change a whole lot. Your schemes can change and everything.
And Goff is this close to being Jameis Winston, as far as, just making mistakes and stuff like that. I mean, he's made fewer since the last few years.
Yeah.
Man,
that was
Goff would give you he can give you a Hall of Fame level game and then the next year, the next week, he
Yeah.
can give you.
Yeah.
You just like, oh man, like that. Them 6
Give me
interceptions.
a heart attack here. Yeah.
He make you want to just take a
Right.
hard pull. Don't even smoke. You just want to just you know what I'm saying. But Goff is a good quarterback.
Mhm.
He's a solid quarterback. But that's one thing I think that's what keeps Detroit so hard to go against, because they bring so much pressure offensively. Like, their whole thing is our offense can be our defense, because we're gonna go. Oh, it's 4 downs. We have 4 downs. Not just we have 3 downs to get it first. We have 4 downs. If it's 4th and 4, they're probably going for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and it just keeps you like on your toes all the time. But Green Bay, they're so well coached, man. In Green Bay, they're so well coached. Their talent is just as good. I mean, and Love has impressed. I'm not gonna lie, he's impressed. We
Yeah.
didn't know what he was gonna be behind Aaron Rodgers. We were all kind of just hoping maybe what would happen. A lot of people was writing him off. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
When
Well,
Rodgers
they did the
retires,
thing
they
with
ain't got nothing.
Rodgers when he was riding the
When
bench as Favre as their
Behind Favre.
quarterback.
Yep,
And
Yeah.
it makes you a
yep.
little upset that the Packers can have this much
Yeah.
success at quarterback for
Yeah.
this
It
long,
does.
you know? I
Yeah.
mean, I can't even remember the last time Green Bay had a bad quarterback. I mean, going
I mean,
way
their quarterbacks last they play for so long for the team. You don't know when they're gonna have a new. They like
Mhm.
Pittsburgh with the coaches.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
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 Favre played for dang near 20 years before he got traded off or he left. It Rodgers plays for almost 20 years, and then he
Right.
goes. And then it's just like, well, what's Love gonna do? He's starting in year 4 or 5.
Right.
Hopefully, he has longevity the same way. They just
He'll
seem
probably
to
be there
breed
for 15
quarterbacks.
years.
They
Sure,
seem to
that
breed
lasts
quarterbacks with
forever.
them.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Now, Gary, you know that me and Adrian are often called cowboy haters. Um, and I understand, like,
No,
this.
no.
um,
Hate the Cowboys?
I would like your take on what you think the potential for the Cowboys is this season with all the coaching changes that they've made and some of the moves that they've made to be better. Now, I believe they have put themselves in a position to be better, but I would like to know what you think.
Well, I thought
They never made an owner change.
right. I thought McCarthy was the one thing that they had going for them the last few years. I mean,
Agreed, I
I
do.
like I like Mike McCarthy. The Giants have gotten better. The Redskins have gotten better. The Eagles are the champions. I mean, they're in the wrong division to be playing around. And it seems like that's all they've been
Yeah,
doing lately. And they've invested so much money into like 3 players, that they can't really build on anything else. I mean, you got Dak and you've got, Lamb and you've got,
Parsons is up
Parsons.
for.
Yeah, exactly. And Parsons looks like he's, on the verge of a collapse, and demanding trades and stuff. Just his body language at the end of the year and stuff.
yeah,
They
Yeah,
lost to Marcus Lawrence.
I don't see them improving in any part of their game. I mean, they brought Schottenheimer in as a coach, and that wasn't even like an encouraging addition when you just looked at the press conference. Jerry Jones is like, well, you know, this is all I can. Nobody wants to coach the team because he's the owner.
That-
And I mean, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm jumping ship, man. I mean, one of my best friends,
it's like I'm out of
she
here.
she she was a long time, like lifelong fan of the Cowboys and stuff, and she jumped ship, and she would be the last person I would ever think to do that. But yeah, I mean, you go from the
ex-
success they were having for just a few years ago to now being,
Mhm.
probably one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, maybe that's his plan. I don't know. I don't know Jerry Jones.
Uh, uh,
Nobody knows Jerry Jones,
the,
but maybe that's his plan that
and
he
the
just wants to.
and the biggest problem with the Cowboys, they're still going to be relevant.
Well, that's all they
And
talk.
I don't mean relevant as if they're going to be a good team. I mean they're just going to be in the news all the time. We're going to be talking about them again for about 18
Exactly.
more years because Jerry Jones is going to say
Exactly.
something crazy.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with the Cowboys is Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's been the biggest problem
Period.
since
He's
the
the
beginning.
reason why
Yeah.
they can't get over the hump.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. He chased Jimmy Johnson out of town, because they were winning. They were set up for so many Super Bowls. I mean, it was ridiculous.
They were set up.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. As much as I hate to say it, if they kept Jimmy Johnson as their team coach, they could have probably ran off at least three or four more, three more Super Bowls after that.
We wouldn't even be talking about the Patriots right now.
It wouldn't have been no Patriots talk. They would have been seven Super Bowls back in the 90s.
Yep.
And that's coming from a 49er fan. And we were dominant during those times too.
Watching the Bulls in the 90s and stuff, they would have done the same
literally.
thing in the NFL. Yeah.
That's what they were. They were the dynasty. They were this close to being the dynasty of the 90s.
They had so
many Super Bowls
years of Super Bowls in them, with as young as Aikman was and as young as Michael and that offensive line. I mean,
man, the defense was tough.
They were just bringing Dion. They would bring in Haley. They would bring in all kinds of players. And
I mean, they
those guys wanted to come to them just to win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, how many NFC championships they went to? Like 4 in a row, 5 in a row, something like that. Besides the 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah. All he had to do was stay out of Jimmy Johnson's way. Yeah, they would have won it. Probably.
That's all.
But Jerry Jones has a problem with not actually letting the coaches coach.
Yeah.
He pushed Bill Parcells out. Because guess what? Bill Parcells doesn't abide by what he wants them to do. It's my team. You put me here, let me coach my team. Barry Switzer, he pushed them out. They won a Super Bowl with him.
Yeah, one of the greatest.
But then when you get
ever,
and then when you go and you get somebody like what's his name, Jason Garrett, and you go like 10 years of him.
Yeah,
because Jason Garrett listens to what.
And I'll say this:
exactly.
They wasted Romo's career. I think Romo could have won a couple of Super Bowls because he was as good a quarterback as anybody that has ever played for.
Romo was actually
for real. Looking at his numbers and everything, Romo was a heck of a regular season quarterback.
Yeah, and
now he just
won't go in the Hall of Fame ever, even though he should.
Yep, these teams were just they never got over the hump.
Yeah.
Of course, the bad thing about Romo was big cut.
Yeah, he was
of the game. He's gonna he was gonna Jameis Winston it up. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna give you one. You know what I'm saying? He go Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what I'm saying? He good for at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be at crucial moments of the game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And now you look at the team that he has now.
Yeah.
Dak is just
healthy, man, and
they can't get over the hump. Dak got great numbers too.
Yeah.
But the teams aren't worth the damn. It's just like y'all can't get nowhere.
But then they were like the Dolphins
Jerry
a couple
Jones.
years ago, where you thought, man, this could be the year. And then they played a decent team and nothing ever came out.
They played the 49ers a couple of times in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
49ers,
twice.
I think they ended both those teams season that year.
Yeah. That was
I
us.
remember that. Yeah, because you were like,
that was us.
Then we ended the 49ers.
Yeah, then we ain't big.
Look at how Adrian looking at me. Hey,
that's all we gonna do. This is what we on. No, wait, hold on. Big Will, really? You know what I'm saying? We had a whole week off, and this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. Whole week off, and this is what you come up with. You got to say something about the. That's okay.
I had to rep for my Rams.
I know.
Now, Gary,
it's all right. At the end of the day, we still got more Super Bowls.
We've been talking for over an hour, and we have had a 49ers and a Rams fan on the same call, and we made it this far without this. So I'm impressed with you. Yeah, you two are the consummate professionals.
Yeah. He likes to start stuff though.
I could tell he was crying.
He had to go ahead and sneaking. We talk about the Cowboys. One thing that we agree upon, and he got sneaking in the Rams ending us. And how many times have we ended y'all Super Bowl runs?
I thought about it. I was like, I probably shouldn't say nothing, but
I mean, I'm mad because at the end of the day, we should have how many Super Bowls we should have right now? We should have 8.
Well,
We should have 8. We lost against the
y'all.
Ravens. We lost twice against the dang Chiefs.
Now, do you think it's because the lights went out that you lost to the Ravens?
That's absolutely
'Cause
why they lost to the Ravens, because the lights went out. I believe so.
Do you think
That's why we lost.
somebody wanted the Ravens to win and they flipped the switch?
Well, as much as I would like to say, yeah, that was it, but let me be. I'm a 49er fan, but you know I'm a realist.
Yeah.
We were getting mud holes stomped in that Super Bowl in the first half until the lights went out. And then when it came back on, we played a better game. Because we got stomped. I blame Ray Lewis. Because they knew he was about to retire. They wanted to give him one before he goes. So, because wasn't that the year Ray Lewis got injured? And then came back in the playoffs?
Yeah, sure.
And then all of a sudden he goes and they win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and then he...
Oh, okay. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Yeah, he wins a championship. Let's go ahead and get him out of it. Let's go ahead and let him go with a win. You know what I'm saying? And then the last couple of Super Bowls.
The first loss to Kansas City was Garoppolo's fault.
No. It was Kyle Shanahan's fault.
Yeah, that was.
I mean,
once again, you did what you did against the Patriots when you was in Atlanta. You stopped running the damn football. Why are you putting Garoppolo in a position to be a hero when you know he is not the quarterback that's going to do that for you? We literally won a game without him.
He was outcoached definitely in that game.
Yeah, he was. But that was the last Super Bowl against Kansas City. He got outcoached.
Exactly. The same. But and then that Super Bowl, he stopped doing what worked. Run the football. That's all you got to do. Run the ball. It's working. He did that in Atlanta. Yo, 35 to what? It was like 35 to 7 or something like that.
4-3, right?
That was wow,
and you stopped running the football.
That was so bad.
We're gonna stay aggressive. You're playing in their hands.
Oh man.
Like I've never seen that in my life. What?
Yeah.
It's just like Detroit. I'm gonna be real. Detroit lost to us in the playoffs because guess what they stopped doing? They stopped running the football.
Right.
Detroit was killing us on the ground in that game.
Yeah.
We couldn't stop them. They stopped running the football. You're playing right into our hands. Okay, we want you to. Since we couldn't stop the run, we want you to play in the passing game. But that's what you do. Okay, well let's go ahead and we're gonna take this away. Thank you, and we're gonna proceed to move on down the field. But every Super Bowl we lost, Shanahan stopped playing the game plan that he should have been playing. He stopped running the football, which is the most effective way that we play football. It's always been that.
That was Dad won 2 Super Bowls, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
you have a great
it's tried and true. You need a running game to win games a lot of times. This is honestly the truth. And that's where I feel about it. It's just like we stopped running the football and we lost. It's Shanahan. I like Shanahan as a coach. He's been one of the better coaches. I think Harbaugh was a better coach overall, but he's been one of the. When we had Harbaugh, we had the same type of formula. We had a team that could run the football, and then we had a team that played just above and beyond defense.
Ridiculous, yeah.
And then that's what we. And another thing that hurt us in the last Super Bowl is we lost old buddy Greenlaw.
Oh yeah.
You know, he went down early, so that hurt our defense, but we still was in the game. And then what we did, we got rid of our defensive coordinator, and last year we threw up a dud. So there's that.
Y'all got Robert Sala.
Yeah, we got solid.
Yeah, solid.
I'm hoping he gets back to it and brings us back with our defense. But
I think he got a raw deal in New York. I thought that was messed up what they did to
him.
I
think he got a raw deal in New York too. I agree with that. I think it's hard to gauge.
They catered to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Who knows? This might be how Tomlin finally goes down in Pittsburgh. You know, having a
Well, we talked about that.
I certainly hope not.
I hope not either, but you know.
Because man, I don't know what they were doing in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing in Pittsburgh. I mean, if they get Aaron Rodgers that does have the numbers like they did, he did. He didn't have a bad season last year. It's
No,
just he
no.
just he wasn't effective. Now with DK Metcalf, he might be.
We'll
DK
see.
Metcalf is pretty good, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
We'll see
see.
how that works. Gary, we like to end the show, as you know, with a Y'all Must Have Forgot, where we have a player that people don't often talk about, but highlights and stats should be should be looked at. Since you are the guest, is
Oh,
there a
cool.
particular player that you believe that people have kind of forgotten about that was very, very special and people should definitely go look at highlights and go look at the numbers? Do you have a y'all must have forgot?
You know, if this was a year ago, I would say yes, but I want to give my flowers to Dave Parker, who
Okay.
recently passed, the Cobra. I have been a lifelong fan of him. I grew up in Colorado. We didn't have a team until I was well out of high school. So my favorite player was the best player in the 70s, and that was Dave Parker. And he put up Hall of Fame stats over a 20-year career, over 370 home runs, close to 3,000 hits. He had a 299 lifetime batting average, two gold gloves, two batting championships on top of, World Series championships in both Oakland and Pittsburgh, when he was a member of the famous Pirates, family and stuff with Willie Stargell. And he was the guy that they picked to replace Roberto Clemente. And he did that. Nobody else could have filled those shoes except Dave Parker. And for whatever reason, for 10 years after he had retired, he wasn't even thought of as a Hall of Famer. And
Wow.
the highest percentage that he ever received when he was on the regular ballot was like 27%. So then
Really?
yeah, yeah. So then he falls off the ballot, and like 10 years later, he finally starts resurfacing on the veterans ballot or the legends ballot, I think they call it now. And they finally induct him. And this is like 8 years after he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. So he had that going against him, but he was around when they finally learned that he was going to get inducted. But he just passed away last month, and he's going to be inducted posthumously at the end of this year. So I always thought he was a guy that should have gotten recognized a long time ago. But I'm glad that
Yeah.
they finally are giving him his recognition now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Good
That
one.
that's
Good
that's a
one.
good one. I appreciate you having all the stats on them and feeding me that information. That was a
They're
lot
all
of
right
things
here,
that I
man.
I didn't know. So
And
that
I
that
like it because, like I said before in other podcasts, I like to learn. I like to get myself more knowledgeable about baseball because I
Yeah,
mean, I used to read a lot of the books back in the day, like little sports books with baseball. So I got some knowledge there. Players' names I understand, and I've seen some stats, and I used to follow it a little bit growing up, but I kind of fell out of it. So it was just great to have somebody here that does have that knowledge of baseball. So yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to check them out.
yeah, yeah. He's finally gotten his recognition, so I'm happy about that.
good, good.
Oh, can
Well,
I throw one thing in here real quick? And I just want to get your opinion because Lil Chris actually posed this question. He texted me one day,
okay.
and I want to see what y'all think here. He asked me within the last 4 years, who do you think has been the most underrated tight end in the NFL?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. Underrated in the last 4 years?
Yeah, most underrated. He said he feels Mark Andrews. Um,
No, Mark Andrews
me,
just definitely he gets the recognition
yeah,
I believe he deserves.
me. I said Evan Ingram in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I don't really, yeah, I can't even come up with a name because they're tight ends, unless they're
Yeah, unless they showing out, they don't get talked about.
Yeah.
They don't get talked about, and most of the time they're just another part of the offensive lines. That's
That's a really good question. That is I'm kind of stumped because the reason is because we've seen some good tight ends have a good year and then next year they don't, right? So
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of one that's been consistent over, over a period of time. I
That's
that
a tough one.
that just doesn't get talked about. Um,
You think Ertz is still up there? Because
He's been
um,
injured. He's
he had a
been
good
injured a
year in
lot,
Washington last
but
year,
yeah,
though.
he's had a good year.
yeah,
Well,
I, I'll say this.
What about Higby?
I was just gonna say Tyler Higbee, and the reason I'm gonna say Tyler, just because he's a Ram, because just because consistently he's been productive consistently over the years. I know he had his leg broken in the playoffs, uh, but prior to that he had been consistent over the years. What something special about him that people don't recognize is he is a really good blocker. Like he's been instrumental in run blocking, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he is good at selling the block and getting out on a route. So I'd go with Tyler Higbee.
it's a good one though. It's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah.
I thought about him too. I thought about him too.
So yeah, for sure. Gary, man, I appreciate you joining the show. It's been fun.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
like to
yeah,
have
for
you
real.
want to come back on the show?
I would love
I
to.
mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
if you got the time,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
we definitely would love it.
we
We love it.
we would love to have
yeah,
you
yeah.
back on the
No,
show.
I've
Yeah,
missed this. Will, this has been really fun. Those are
yeah,
some of the funnest days of my time in Texas, especially when we were coming up at CTC and stuff. This was really,
yeah,
really fun.
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
glad that, yeah, definitely. I've been
And
just,
like I said,
yeah, been
go ahead, go ahead.
so impressed with Adrian. You were just fun to listen to and stuff. And I always thought that, like,
Appreciate it.
man, Will finally, found a really, really good person to have a conversation with. So it's been fun listening to you over the last few weeks and also just joining the conversation today.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, we appreciate your time, man. Definitely, I would love if you got any time that you get back here. If you want to be on here full time with us, that'd be great.
No, that'd be,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
hey,
I appreciate that.
and
Yeah.
like I said, the best thing about it is it's gonna help me because I could ultimately me and Big Will we talk a lot of course football and stuff, and that's gonna give leeway for y'all to be able to go on segments, especially about baseball, and I can learn more. So I'm always willing to learn when it comes to
Yeah.
sports
Well, and
and
baseball's
stuff, and I
popularity
really
is
want.
really picking up lately. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I want to get back into actually knowing. I mean, I kind of after kind of like the Barry Bonds and all the home run era people and all that stuff then died off. I kind of was just like, well, baseball is just, you know. So I mean, I know a couple of names that's out there now, but I haven't followed it. So it's just like it's just good to hear somebody. It would be good to see somebody else that have a different knowledge base that they could bring, and we could expand more on sports talk. And
Sounds
it's
good.
always
Yeah.
great.
Oh, I'm honored. Yeah. Honored to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, I thank y'all for joining the podcast. Appreciate y'all listening all the way through, and y'all know where to find us. Fundamentals, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. So come join us,
Hmm.
conversate, be a part of the conversation. And as always, appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace out.